McConnell has been trying to set all trial rules as the pressure builds on vulnerable senators. It had been weeks since the House of Representatives passed articles of impeachment, and back home senators were getting pushed on what they believed a fair impeachment trial would look like. Republican Senator Susan Collins wanted answers from Majority Leader Mitch McConnell about the next phase of the impeachment process. So on the first day back to Washington after the holiday recess on Monday, January 6, Collins wrote a copy of the Senate's 1999 Clinton impeachment resolution to the floor of the chamber and handed it to Mitch McConnell's staff. She wanted more than a promise that Mitch McConnell was going to follow the 1999 Clinton impeachment trial model, something he said over and over again publicly and behind closed doors. Collins wanted to see it in writing. What transpired has been weeks of negotiations and between the leader's office and aides to Collins, Mitch McConnell, and Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska and Tennessee's Lamar Alexander, according to people involved. The group painstakingly dissected each word of the Clinton resolution, discussing what, if anything, would change, as moderates pushed for language that would require a vote on whether senators want to hear from witnesses after the House managers and the squatters' defense team made their case. In between talks with moderates, Mitch McConnell and his staff brought in some of the most conservative legal scholars in the conference, including Senators dumbass Ted Cruz of Texas and Mike Lee of Utah, into the fold, checking in with them about how to deal with witnesses down the line. The effort, in effect, aimed to ensure that the plan being hatched to address moderate concerns wouldn't invariably lead to a crumbling of Mitch McConnell's conservative coalition, and more importantly, lead to a collapse of support from the squatter. The leader understands the importance of listening to everybody, said one Republican senator who asked not to be named to freely discuss Mitch McConnell's negotiating style. He understands that some people have more pressing issues than others, and he could sort through difference between members who would just like to see it be one way and members who really need it to be some other way, and at the same time making everyone feel like they were listened to. The resolution with the impeachment trial rules has yet to be released, but the expectation is it will likely include the language moderates fought so hard for on witnesses. It will likely cut a provision from the Clinton resolution that allowed for a motion to dismiss, a move that would stop the impeachment trial in its tracks and stop 45 from getting a full trial and acquittal. Republicans in leadership who have argued is invaluable for the squatter. Mitch McConnell has said he has a majority to pass the resolution, a promising sign for the start of a trial that has come after 4 months of an investigation. A House impeachment vote and a weeks-long game of chicken between Mitch McConnell and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi over how to run this trial. But the upcoming weeks will test Mitch McConnell, and to some extent Democratic leader Chuck Schumer as well, his ability to hold their respective parties together beyond the early days of the trial. I don't envy the majority or minority leader's task, said Senator Ron Johnson, a Republican from Wisconsin, told CNN it's not a very easy job. You are quarreling independent senators from different states with different constituencies. Up ahead, GOP senators will have to navigate an impeachment with a squatter who shares his stream of consciousness and evolving issues for his defense strategy on Twitter. Schumer, meanwhile, will have to manage a handful of Democratic senators running for the squatter, who will be confined to their seats in the Senate instead of crisscrossing the campaign trail just weeks before the Iowa caucuses. Schumer will also have to keep an eye on Democratic senators Doug Jones of Alabama and Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who will have to decide if the case their House colleagues are making is compelling enough to remove a sitting squatter from office just months before a federal election. Both sides will have to handle witnesses in a trial that has no firm end, in an environment where the slow drip of new information threatens to derail carefully constructed narratives. I've said to Schumer, "Are you sure you want John Bolton testifying, because we don't know what he's going to say yet," said Senator Chris Coons, a Democrat from Delaware, told CNN. Just recognize we have to be open to getting to the truth as opposed to just getting the political result. Schumer's response was, "We want witnesses," which is true. Mission to get senators on board with the Clinton model. For months, aides and members say Mitch McConnell has laid the groundwork for an impeachment process that would somehow shield his vulnerable members from charges of partiality, while ultimately leading to 45's acquittal. Mitch McConnell quickly latched onto the idea of using the Clinton model, a reference to the very first resolution in the Clinton impeachment trial that passed the Senate 100-0 and set up a process that allowed both the House managers and the squatters' defense team to make their cases before lawmakers voted on hearing from witnesses. Republicans say Mitch McConnell's job is to unite them was also helped by what they say were Democratic missteps. Pelosi's decision to withhold the articles for weeks in an effort to extract concessions from a Republican-controlled Senate, and perception that Democrats are using impeachment to target vulnerable Republicans. It's pretty obvious that it's not about the squatter, said Senator John Barrasso, a Republican from Wyoming, told CNN. It's about Schumer's approach to become the majority leader of the Senate. Mitch McConnell has largely been given his members to the floor to speak about their concerns on party lunches, refraining from putting his thumb on the scale in too specific of a direction, but in a process where historical precedent is thin and the options are many. Republican senators say Mitch McConnell has masterfully led his conference to find a unified position. The starting point, a PowerPoint presentation the leader provided to his caucus back in October that set in motion the party's eventual embrace of the Clinton model. What Mitch McConnell did was explain it was a process. It was a process that had precedent. That was done, obviously. I saw Trent Lott recently, who was the Republican leader at the time, and he explained it exactly the way Mitch McConnell explained it to us. One Republican senator told CNN about how Mitch McConnell slowly convinced the conference to adopt his view of how a trial should be run. In lunches, members and aides told CNN has talked to say Mitch McConnell tends to be in listening mode, which he technically isn't, relying on members themselves to articulate to their colleagues why some provisions in an organizing resolution are essential and why others would be a liability back home, as a strategy he's used through his tenure in the Senate. There is no secret sauce here, said Senator Pat Toomey, a Republican from Pennsylvania, said Thursday when asked if Mitch McConnell's trial approach this time was any different than his past leadership style. The weeks ahead will no doubt put a strain on the Republican unity. On Thursday, Schumer warned Democrats that they would force votes on witnesses as soon as the official impeachment trial kicks off on Tuesday, leading to questions about where vulnerable Republicans who are up for re-election in states like Maine, Colorado, North Carolina, or even Iowa will land on questions about witnesses. Conservatives have also warned that if Democrats push for their witnesses, they may force votes on controversial witnesses like Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and even the whistleblower, once again putting moderates in a difficult position of having to decide between backing the squatter or voting for witnesses that could be perceived back home as overly partisan. That is going to be a challenge, and I don't know how this all plays out. On most days, both sides will eat lunch together before the trial, and there will probably be a fair amount of discussion, one Republican senator said. The bottom line is once 51 senators say we have heard enough, this will end.